I want to highlight a question that was asked of Secretary of State Blinken when asked whether Israel notified the United States of the Haniyeh operation and whether the United States was informed that Israel was going to assassinate Haniyeh in Iran. Blinken said, "This is something we were not aware of or involved in." And then when asked about what that implies about our relationship with our wonderful ally, he said, quote, "I've learned never to speculate on the impact one event may have on something else, so I can't tell you what that means." And shout out to our good friend, our old friend Ellie Valley, who just said, "This is a great interview with a random guy on the street." You would forget that this guy is the U.S. Secretary of State. And he's like, "I don't really have much feeling about it. I can't really speculate one way or the other, but things happen. But I've learned in my long career in government not to speculate on what other things might happen as the result of one event that we probably could have prevented from happening."
It's like he's talking about NBA trades. What the fuck are you talking about?
Literally.
What do you think about Jason Tatum being sat against Serbia, sir? Your comment.
They literally made him disavow the idea that one event can lead to another. He's just working with Israel for 3 years has caused a former leader of CENTCOM to go I don't even know if one event leads to another ever. I don't know if that's ever happened.
But the fact that he can't comment on the fact that our close ally that we're supplying with billions of dollars in military aid and unlimited diplomatic support in the UN and elsewhere, that they wouldn't inform us when they assassinate the guy that is the chief negotiator in the ceasefire deal that we say is the only path to peace in a country in the sovereign nation of Iran. To assassinate him in Iran, that they didn't tell us about that. And you're like, I don't really think it's none of our business.
And it's none of our business, and it probably won't affect anything
in the ceasefire negotiations.
No events do.
Killing the chief negotiator will probably not affect anything in the ceasefire negotiations. Well, I mean, I assume it affects
anything that will happen was written in the stars millions of years before our births.
Is going to discussion about free will. No, this is the thing that I talked about in the piece that I wrote. The idea that the Biden administration and Israel to some extent are both they're trapped in this path that they have created for themselves, but also they are entirely willing participants.
Yeah,
they've entirely bought into this narrative that it's been built up over decades about how Israel needs to be supported at all costs and all of its endeavors and. At least publicly, and that, especially in this war, they need to be given everything that they possibly have. But also they recognize that this war is leading into incredibly destructive paths forward for them. There are no good options out of this. But also, if we were to entertain any other path, then that is a complete unknown that we can't even comprehend. That's unfathomable. Why would you even suggest that? And then that leads to a situation where, oh, fuck, Israel has done something absolutely escalatory, absolutely should not have done, and is clearly trying to wrap us into a conflict that we cannot extract ourselves out of. But I can't say that, even though we need to stop this. So I'm going to go and tell the supporter, look, cause and effect really has never been proven by any scientist.
I mean,
I can't speculate.
I mean, not to compare it to something glib, but it does seem to be very similar to the mindset of people that were look, Biden simply can't drop out of the race. Okay, that's simply that's just simply too risky. But Séamus, in light of the rape riots in Israel, in light of these latest escalations, it is insane to me that there is not more momentum around the very simple idea that if we want to juice this ceasefire deal or bring people to the table or bring an end to this conflict, that weapons shipments be on the table for something that we'd be willing to cut off, at least until Israel plays ball. And look, I think we should cut them off in a lot more ways than just sending them weapons. But it is insane to me that this is this tool as part of our capacity as a world superpower is completely unheard of, or it's not even dismissed. It is not even discussed when any of these things are brought to someone like Anthony Blinken.
Well, that is the art of negotiation. Whenever you're negotiating with someone, you instantly have to remove all of your most your most powerful tools and your most your strongest sticks and your best carrots, or else you're anti-Semitic. That's in the first page of every book written about
I mean, like
negotiation.
compare Israel to Russia. Like Russia is under like how like God knows how many sanctions. They can't even compete at the Olympics. They're treated as a pariah state. So the idea that like let's say like an ally of the United States shipped one gun to Vladimir Putin, how we would react to that versus the way Israel is treated and the way that like again the way that they continue to be treated like a normal country that's doing normal things that we have that we support, but we have no control over what they do. Like how can you continue? How can when there be like international headlines about how Israelis are rioting, like as I said, not to repeat myself, for their right to unfettered rape and torture? How can we continue to keep giving weapons to the people that are doing this shit?
Obviously, on a moral standpoint, but even on a cold-blooded, practical, cynical standpoint, does this seem like the most stable place in the world where you would want to give them all your most advanced weapon systems?
No.
Yeah,
Absolutely fucking
what
not.
the fuck?